What's good? It's Stormy B-Man, and I'm back with another Stormy B-Man's Briefs. This time the focus is on another article from Boxing Scene where Shakur Stevenson believes that Brian Mendoza can beat Tszyu. It's interesting coming from Shakur, who is a boxer who is probably one of the best pure boxers of today, and his sentiments about this type of victory in support of Mendoza over Tszyu, because the two men are more bashers than they are boxers at their respective weight class. I feel that insight coming from a fighter like Shakur Stevenson bears taking a second look because of how he sees action in the ring. Even though he's a young fighter, he's one of the most talented in the sport today, and it would behoove a lot of people to pay attention at times when someone who is capable understands the sport from that technical perspective, So, as we go into what he was saying in the article, he thinks that being a strong puncher or an all-out brawler isn't enough to get the attention. Shakur loves an all-round fighter and one who can do it all like himself, and he feels like Brian Mendoza is a fighter that stands out to him. He's a great fighter, he told Miller City Boxing. I like him. Mendoza spends a ton of time in the gym, but nowadays he practically lives there. The biggest win of his career netted him another huge opportunity. The moment Sebastian Fundora's head bounced unconsciously off the canvas, Tszyu took notice. The Aussie now wants a piece of Mendoza. You have to be careful for what you ask for. Shakur says, I think he beats Tszyu. I'm not a big Tszyu fan. I really ain't seen nothing too special about Tszyu. This isn't the first time that Stevenson felt underwhelmed with Tszyu. Heading into his showdown against Tony Harrison, Stevenson was convinced that the former junior middleweight champ would box circles around his man. That thought, nevertheless, was erroneous. But this is the thing about what Shakur saw in that fight with Harrison. He saw Harrison, who is capable of boxing the way he boxes. But remember, Harrison was on Tszyu's soil, in his backyard. We don't know what went on behind the scenes. We don't know what really may have taken Harrison out of the game outside of what happened in the ring. But I do know and recognize that when Tszyu came to America and he faced off here, he didn't fare as dominant as he did over there. And his two victories over Ocampo and earlier Harrison have kind of given an indication that he may be one of the biggest front runners in the sport of boxing. One thing his dad did was be a well-traveled fighter and champion. His dad had come over here and beat the likes of Zab Judah and Julio Cesar Chavez. Those are names that were etched in granite in the sport of boxing. If Tszyu is able to follow in his dad's footsteps and do things like that, maybe he can sway the sentiment of a fighter like Shakur Stevenson. But another thing I would like to add to this is the desire of a fighter, which is immeasurable. And in today's time, we're seeing a lot of fighters who come into the sport who just aren't driven to be the best. They're driven by achievable goals and motivations that don't typically set well within professional fighters. I mean, you could see it in NBA players, you could see it in NFL players. Once they begin to start raking in the revenue, the efforts are not always there. The cream always rises to the top in professional sports, and we see it especially in the sport of boxing. You have to find ways to reinvent and remotivate yourself each and every outing. Some fights are tough, some fights that you may have prepared for with a deep desire to want to show the best that you can, you'll find that it turns out that it might be one of your easiest. But what do you think? This is Stormy B-Man. Shout out to the mighty LDBC and Liberated Perspective, a third eye view of the world. For more content such as this, please like, comment, subscribe, and share.